Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pager, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 6, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 10, otherwise known as the mid-season premiere, otherwise entitled Divided. But before we get into anything else, let's actually watch the trailer.
If Caden James has a posse, then maybe we need to even the playing field.
What are we gonna do here?
We're forming a team.
You don't go into the field with people you can't rely on.
I can stop him.
We have a very large problem.
Arrow. New episodes return Thursday, January 18th on the CW.
So that trailer was pretty interesting, but the first thing I do have to go over and sort of explain is why I didn't have a review out, I guess, yesterday or last night, or just, earlier on from whenever you're watching this video. As a lot of you guys would know, I'm on holiday. It just didn't work out yesterday, just getting back in time to watch Arrow, so I thought, you know what? I knew it was going to be happening for the most part. It didn't seem like it was going to be the most exciting mid-season finale, so I thought it's not too big that I miss it. And yeah, the trailer breakdown the next day would just, fit in more well, I guess. But I will be doing a live stream most likely over the next couple of days where I will be talking more in depth about Arrow if you guys want to tune in for that. But really, this last episode, we had that first 10 to 15 minutes, which was interesting to say the least. And then we moved on into the main, point of the episode. And really, just to discuss the big parts, we had Black Siren, which we will talk more in depth about later on in the video, but really more evolution in her story. And then also just finding out towards the end that we had all these villains that we've, slowly met throughout the opening of this season coming together, and they're sort of like an Injustice League of sorts for Arrow this season. And then obviously we also had the parts where we had the team splitting up towards the end due to, no trust within the team. We have Oliver, Felicity, and Diggle essentially spying and keeping surveillance on all the Team Arrow members without their knowledge, which is, shows a lack of trust. So we basically had all the other people in regards to Dinah, Curtis, and Renee leaving the team due to this, no trust within the team. Renee was the one that was going to go against Oliver, but he had a good reason for it. Oliver was going to go down regardless, so it made sense why Renee was doing it. But Oliver still had the right to be angry because, he was going behind his back, which is not a cool thing to do. But essentially that is where our trailer breakdown will kick off, where we have the good team being split, obviously that being Team Arrow, and then we have the bad team being united, which is all of our villains. So it's a good comparison there, and some anti-parallels, if you want to call them, which should be pretty interesting to see play out in this episode. I'm really interested to see how these villains work together, because really at the end of last episode we had 30 seconds of them all coming into the room together. We didn't get much of what was going on there, so this episode should really flesh out how all these different villains work together and whether there is any animosity between them, because Caden James does seem to be the one leading them all, but I really want Ricardo Diaz to be the one, or Richard Dragon to be the one that's leading the group. So I wonder if Caden James might be killed off by Ricardo Diaz later into the season, and Ricardo will become the big bad, because I would like to see him become the big bad, because he just seems like a cooler character. Actually, he is a much cooler character. Caden James is pretty cool. I do like Michael Emerson in the role, but, it's Ricardo Diaz. He's much, much cooler. But essentially, we see Dinah, Curtis, and Renee forming their own team, which makes sense. They're vigilantes. They wanted to do this. Dinah and Renee were doing this. They were out in the streets by themselves before they even joined Team Arrow. So it makes 100% sense that they would want to go out and continue doing it. With Curtis, he was already technically sort of on Team Arrow, the technical side of things, before becoming the vigilante known as Mr. Terrific. So for him, it's a bit different. But with Curtis, with Dinah and Renee, might I say, they were already out doing this vigilante stuff beforehand. So them being kicked off Team Arrow shouldn't make them not vigilantes anymore. It should really make them wanting to go out there and prove themselves and be better than they were on Team Arrow. So I'm excited to see how those two go out in the field. Curtis might serve as the Felicity of this team, the tech guy, but also go out in the field as well. You do actually see Felicity and Diggle in Argus quickly at one point. Now, I'm not too sure what's going on here. I don't know if these, this bad villain team is trying to get something from Argus again, or whether maybe the Arrow bunker becomes compromised and they actually have to use Argus's facilities to continue what they're doing. So yeah, once again, don't really know what's going on here. It's a quick scene. There's not a lot of context going on here, but yeah, they're in Argus at one point in this episode, so I guess keep your eyes out for that. Now, I do have a feeling that things are going to go very bad for specifically Team Arrow, Oliver, because he's going to be out in the field on his own, because Diggle's not 100% yet. So Oliver's going to have to be out in there on his own, probably trying to take on the whole team of villains by himself, or at least a handful of them. So things are definitely not going to go good for Oliver in this, in this episode. And going from certain points in this trailer, he does seem to be getting blown away and taken down in a few of them. So yeah, I don't think Oliver's going to have a very good time. I think he's going to start missing having some support around him. But I have a feeling that it will end in Team Arrow coming back together, sooner rather than later. Not necessarily saying in this episode, not saying like, oh, at the end of it, like Renee, Curtis, and Dinah are just going to walk in the door and say, we forgive you, we trust you again. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But eventually they're going to come back, like Oliver's going to realize, okay, I'm taking on this team of villains, I'm going to have a team around me. So he's not going to recruit more new members. Like this could be maybe where Roy Harper comes back into the picture at some point to help out Oliver, which may suggest that we're going to be separated from like Renee, Curtis, and Dinah for a bit longer than we thought we would. But eventually they're going to come back because they're going to have to take down this team of villains. But yeah, Roy Harper is meant to come back, so keep that in your, in your heads, keep that fresh, because at some point he's going to be coming back, and it could be to help out Oliver in this, in this difficult situation. But the last thing I want to talk about is actually Black Siren. So in the last episode, we did get a hint at her redemption when she actually lets Quentin Lance, like her father's doppelganger from Earth 1, run away. Like she was meant to kill him, she let him run. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the team reacts to that, like the evil team, like the Injustice League of sorts of this Arrow season. Going to be interesting to see how they react if they ever find that out. But there is hints there that she has a soft spot for Quentin because, it is her father essentially. Like we did learn about her backstory on Earth 2, about how her father went to get a birthday cake when she was 13. He died in a car crash. And she really never got to know her father like Earth 1 Laurel did. So Quentin could be the main reason for her redemption. It looks like it will be. It doesn't look like it's going to be Oliver at all or anyone else because, they sort of, are going up against her. But Quentin always has that soft spot even though she has tried to kill him in the past and different things like that and done certain things to other people around in his life. So I'm looking forward to Black Siren stuff, but hopefully they actually focus more on her and stop using her as a bit of a plot device, which I have really been using her for this season essentially, and you can argue even the end of last season she is basically becoming a plot device, which I don't think is good for the character because she has so much potential. So hopefully they focus more on that in this back half of the season and actually give her a storyline of sorts. And the fact they have all these this villain team, they can do that and show her different relationships with those different villains and just seeing how she reacts to them differently, which then leads to her doing this redemption arc if she keeps on interacting with Quentin Lance, which I think we're going to see. Whether it's knowingly, whether Quentin Lance knows that, this Earth 2 Laurel is actually keeping tabs on him, or whether it's just like spying around and stuff like that. But the last thing I want to talk about is actually the return date for Arrow Season 6 after its mid-season break. That is actually on the 18th of January, so it's gone for about 5 weeks roughly, so it comes back the same week as Supergirl and The Flash and the same week as the premiere of Black Lightning. So the only show not coming back that week in regards to DC TV is Legends. That comes back in February at this point, but that's to be confirmed. We don't know the exact date of that yet. So yeah, put that in your diaries or your calendars. 18th of January, Arrow comes back. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'll be awesome if you could drop a like. Let me know in the comments section down below. What are you looking forward to most in this episode? What were your thoughts on episode 9, the mid-season finale? Obviously I didn't do a review, so I didn't get your guys' opinions and stuff like that. And I will be hopefully live streaming the next couple of days, so keep your eyes out for that, and we'll talk Arrow and all the mid-season finales. So yeah, just leave all your opinions down there, and of course if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.